So we need to be on the one that says Karen's slideshow rather than the one that was in our materials.
Yes, thank you. Good question, Melinda. That one was just so that you can look at it beforehand or afterwards, but this one will be interactive. So let me share that again in the chat if you weren't logged in yet. And we're going to start in about 2 minutes. Welcome back, Holly. All right, welcome everybody. I think that we will end up having some people join us in a little bit. That was a short break. Normally we'd have a 15-minute break. So, but I'm gonna just get started by sharing a couple of things with you. First of all, welcome. If you weren't in the slideshow and able to see the chat, I am now sharing once again. So this is the same link for everybody who's already seen it. This is the link to the slideshow that Karen's going to be using today. The one that was with the resources from your conference page isn't editable, and she's going to have you do some interactive things on the slides today. So you'll want to copy that link and paste it into a window, and she'll be working from that from the beginning. And I just want to welcome you. My name is Lisa Nance. I'm a coach for the Idaho Coaching Network up here in Region 1, which is North Idaho. And our presenter today is Karen Grossman. I've known Karen for a couple of years now as a participant in the ICN. And one of the things that I love about Karen is she is always looking for ways to help our students learn and to make sure they're learning. And you will see that in her presentation today. And I think, Karen, if you're ready to go, I'm going to mute myself. And she's just starting on slide 1, I think.
Okay, well, welcome. I'm glad you attended my workshop today. I've never done a workshop, so I'm just going to preface it with that. But I am Karen Grossman, and I've taught at Lake City High School since 1996, and I taught in Houston before that. But I joined the ICN 2 years ago. Several of my friends, Kirsten and Shelly and all that, encouraged me to do that, even though I teach math. And I have learned just so much that I'm hoping that you'll be able to come away with a few things that will be new to your classroom, or maybe just improve your craft of teaching. That's always my goal out of everything, is just to keep improving my craft and having kids learn. I will say I do a more student centered classroom. I try to bring activities where kids sit and think and I don't know, are really engaged in the material. So if you don't mind just going into the chat and just say who you are and what you teach, and maybe where you teach, that would be great, so we can kind of get to know each other. So I did just give you like a minute to do that. All right, well, thank you so much. I noticed that Katie's there. Hi, Katie. Katie works in our school district. She is awesome, so makes me even more nervous. So. All right. Well, thank you for introducing yourself. I see that we have people really from all over the state. That's exciting and kind of a wide range from kindergarten all the way up through high school. That's wonderful. So hopefully I can, like I say, give you a few little gems to take back to your classroom today. If everyone would go to slide 2, it's just kind of the norms for the day. We've done a tremendous amount of Zoom meetings since last spring. So I think most people know them, like keeping your microphone off, make sure that you're looking at the slideshow, those sorts of things. Again, we're so used to Zoom, whereas last March we wouldn't have been used to this. So, and actually in our class, we set norms at the beginning of each class that we have with Lisa. So if you want to kind of set an intention for the day, you certainly can. I didn't unfortunately put a norm page on here, but if you want to set like a goal for today, just to come maybe away with one gem, or maybe share out things that you do in your classroom already with literature, just those sorts of things. Maybe set like I say, a goal for the next 70 minutes of something that you want to do during this session. All right, and I like that Lisa put on there that keep an open heart and an open mind. And everyone hopefully has something to write on for this session. All right, so we are going to go to slide 3. And in slide 3, I really like this this video that Lisa shared with us during our class one day. But what I like to do in my classroom that I got from Lisa is you're going to watch the video actually twice. You're going to watch it once where you just watch the videos if you're watching Netflix or something like that. Just sit back and enjoy. And then the second time, what I want you to do is to watch that video and then try to come away with one word or one phrase that really resonates with you in your teaching. So when you watch this video, you'll watch it on your own. So make sure, again, that you're on mute. So the video is 4 minutes. So I'll give you about 8 minutes and then I'll call you back. Okay, so go ahead and click on the video. Let us know if you have any technical difficulties with the video. But again, watch it twice. Once, like Lisa says, to get the sparkles out, and then once to come away with a word or phrase. We have about 1 minute left in the chat room. If that's not enough time for you, just let me know. All right, well, once you're done with the video, if you could go to slide 4 and record your word or your phrase, or if you had a couple words that you came away with, that would be great. Wow, I am blown away with your takeaways from this. This is awesome. All right, so now what we're going to do is Lisa's going to put you in chat rooms, and you'll have a chance to kind of look at the words that everyone shared, and maybe tell the people in your chat room why you chose the word or phrase that you did. And while you're in there, take time to introduce yourself of who you are, where you teach, and maybe some vocabulary things that you're already using in your classroom. So we are going to give you about 4 minutes in your breakout rooms.
All right, I'm going to open those. If you see a join button, go ahead and click on the join button. So the group here don't have a separate room. They're just meeting in the main room. But I'm going to mute and let you talk.
So we're talking about our takeaways. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and introductions. We put a little bit in chat, but I have taught public school, homeschooled, helped start 2 charter schools and taught at both of them. And then the last few years I taught at a private school, and right now I'm teaching at an online charter school. So
Wow.
it's just been a wild ride. But I'm loving this, but I'm excited to get back to in-person teaching, because the virtual kindergarten, I teach to feet as often as I teach to faces. It's very entertaining. But I signed up for this because I do a lot the last third of the year with trying to get the kids to write in every subject. Obviously, I mean, kindergarten, that's where we're headed with it, and read in every subject. So I know this is probably kindergarten's a little low for this one, but I was excited just to see some strategies. So.
Awesome. Julie, I don't know if you can hear us. If you're there, do you want to unmute and share about yourself?
Yes, yeah, it took me a minute there. I was going to type it in the chat and I realized the chat apparently is going still to the whole group. I'm Julie Price. I'm in my 35th year of teaching. And as I was watching the video with Dan and Chip Heath, it made me think of that old song, accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, don't mess with Mr. In Between or whatever, which tells you how old I am. But I really needed that reminder today, because as we're winding down the school year, the kids are struggling to keep doing what they're doing. I'm a fifth grade teacher, and I am reminding my students of things that I've said every day all year long. And we have spent most of the year face to face. So that's been a privilege. And other than having a short time that we were A/B schedule, we've had the kids all the time face to face. So it's just, and thinking about how you can find the positive and clone what is making that work really hit for me this morning. So I need to remember that for this last month of the school year and keep it positive.
Wonderful.
Engagement for the last, 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's a little troublesome.
Yeah,
I did like that too. And I liked it as a parent. My children have all left home, but now I'm helping school grandchildren. And as I watched that, I was like, oh, I wish I thought about that a little more as my children were growing up with their education too. I mean, as a teacher, I was always focused on the exemplary things, but then you always do try to help them solve the problems on the things that are concerns too. And I do that in the classroom too. We're problem solvers. So that was a really good. I bookmarked that little video so that I can share it with some of my peers.
Good.
We have 2 seconds left, just FYI. I know we can't see it, but they'll all pop back in. Here they are.
Okay. All right, is everyone back? Okay, well, if you want to, we could take a couple minutes if you want to unmute. I really enjoyed the group that I was in. If you want to unmute and maybe say anything that you guys shared in your breakout.
Amanda and I, we were talking about how do we help teachers, like say there's something amazing going on in one classroom. How do we help teachers capitalize on learning from that other teacher without making somebody feel like they have to be a clone of that other person? Because in teaching, we can't become clones of other people. Like we bring our own selves to it. And so Amanda is like brought up this brilliant idea of like going in there with the stance of I'm not going in there to clone myself or to become that other teacher, but like to steal like one idea or to find one strategy or to look for one aha that is going to help me that I can transfer.
Well, that's wonderful, Katie. I've never even thought of that. So I'm going to take that away as we're not clones as we move towards improving our craft, because that's, as you know, where we're moving. So that is outstanding. Thank you.
In our group, Kim shared just from a different lens, like taking this into something like a parent-teacher conference, rather than, here's where your child's struggling and all the things, but really focusing on what is going well, kind of build up that emotional bank account with parents as well.
Wow, that is excellent too. I'm going to write that. I'm learning a lot in my own sessions. That is excellent.
I like what Katie shared, and I kind of want to build on that because she was doing it from a teacher's perspective, but my mind's going, wow, we could even do that within our classroom. And if we're getting to that point of evaluating our grades or doing that self-evaluation with the students, have those share out, you know, this is what I do. You know, I'm really proud of my grade and what I'm doing, and this is what I do to do it. And then having kids take a moment to reflect in their portfolio or whatever of, okay, I'm going to apply this strategy because I think I can do this, you know, and taking something from those that have shared that are really proud, it gives those a chance to shine that want to shine and share strategies, other than a teacher saying, you need to do this, or a parent, you need to do this to get better, but actually having a peer do that, and then having just that personal time where they can just write, reflect, and it not even be anything that they have to share to embarrass themselves, but they can internalize it. So I appreciate, Katie, what you said from the teacher perspective, because we deal with that in our school too, of teachers being intimidated, of having to learn from others, or feeling like you have to do all the same thing. But then I was able to transfer that to a classroom with students feeling the same way. So thank you, Katie, for sharing that.
Well, thank you. That's an excellent perspective.
All
Would
right,
anyone like to share? Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, I love that, what you were just saying, Kim. And I think with children, no matter what grade level you teach, sharing ideas and learning from each other is a wonderful thing, as long as we remember too that we need to remind children that no matter what you're doing, you're amazing. And if you're not doing it the same way someone else is, that's okay. And if you can use something, great. And you know, I think there's just so much teaching that we have to do on the back end of every activity. But I love that, because the kids can learn and grow from each other if they're taught how to do that in a positive way. So thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for sharing. If you have anything else, you can always put it in the chat as well. All right. Well, we are going to move along, and we are going to go to slide 5. So one thing that I adapted from the ICN was the concept of close reads, because I've done vocabulary and so forth in math, but I really never thought of doing close reads, and I'll tell you, my kids love it. I was blown away. Like, I thought, oh, they're not going to like this because this is math, but they love this. So I brought 2 examples today in my PowerPoint. One was the coronavirus. We had just started our exponential unit, and Melissa Case and I were working on trying to bring the unit. Exponential equations are so usable everywhere. I mean, they're used in life all the time. So we thought, well, let's do the coronavirus. So on the coronavirus, we thought we'll look at some articles together and create a kind of a student-friendly article for them to read. But we came up with an essential question of, what do you notice about the growth of the virus? Because we, like I say, we're doing exponential growth. So we had the kids, I only put a snippet in here because this was like a 2-day lesson, but we had the kids do a close read on an article that we selected. We also did a video as well for them. And we wanted them to discover that exponential growth. And the cool thing about it was, I don't know how much you know about E, but E is a number that Euler found that grows, everything that grows in life has a base of E, which is about 2.7. So if you look at your trees, your grass, anything like that, all grows in that base of E, which he discovered. So preference, I can let you, let me click on the activity, and you can click on the activity as well. Again, let me know if you have any technical difficulties. But again, I took just a snippet of the activity. But I started out with having the kids just kind of look at the pictures. What do you think is going on? And they go, wow, that looks like the coronavirus. And then I did this video with them, if you can see that. But if you would scroll down, there is my close read. Does everyone see that?
I'm also screen sharing, Karen, so they can
Oh,
either look
thank
at
you.
that
Okay.
or the slideshow, either one.
I'm not a real techie person. Lisa knows that. So, but I did a close read. Again, I just took a little snippet out of there, but I had them read the article and then answer the question of how many people do you think will be infected in 10 weeks? So they kind of looked at the numbers and, you know, wrote down, you know, what's the important information, why is it important, and what will we do with it? So again, this is just a small snippet. So I had some students that were more than happy to share their close reads with me. So you can take a couple minutes to see what they wrote. Okay, and then after the close read, we had them do this activity, which I included, just so you can see kind of where we went with it. So they did the close read. They did a share with their partners where they shared out kind of what was in their close read. And then we did an all class discussion. And then they went on and they did this as well to kind of do their predictions. And then we were all able to the next, you know, kind of bring in the concept of the inverse. So we had several things that we wanted to bring in this to this activity. But again, like I say, I'd never done a close read and the kids just loved it. So if you don't want to go all out with a huge close read, you certainly can do miniature close reads in your classroom as well. On this one, this was really fun. I did the definition of a slope field. And if you think about weather patterns, like when you watch the meteorologists do the weather patterns, that's very much, that's where they use this, a lot of the slope fields right now. But a slope field is created from the slopes of the derivative. But I just took the definition and I kind of mirrored what I did with the coronavirus. So I'll give you a minute to read the slope field definition. So like I say, I had them read that and write down what was important. So I again included some student work. Then once they did that, they kind of shared out what they thought the slope field was. And then just to kind of close that lesson, I actually gave them the derivative of a circle. And I had them in their groups create all of the, like I gave them each just a set of ordered pairs and create those slopes. And then they put them all up on the board and it created a circle. And they were like, wow. And then they were like, how did we do this? And I said, well, take the derivative of your circle. And they did. And they were like, oh. So then we talked about where could you use this? And then we talked about not everything has a derivative. or an integration that you can readily find. So that's when Euler came up with the whole concept that you could draw a picture and you could say, aha, that's a circle, aha, that's a square, and they could work backwards. But again, that's just a couple samples of close reads. Yeah, so what I've discovered through working with Lisa is that I can do close reads on several different things, on story problems, on definitions, all kinds of things. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to create your own close read. So I chose some articles, just things going on in the world. And you have to remember, you can curtail it to the level of your classroom. So you're going to see in just a minute 3 different articles that I chose, but I don't want you to look at it as, wow, my kids could never read this. I want you to look at it as, how could I make that a close read for my kids that they would understand? And then what essential question would I ask them before they start to read? Because that's kind of one of the key things, is to give them an essential question. As you read this, look for this idea. Do you see exponential growth, or what do you see in that article? So questions about that?
And Karen, I'm just clarifying, do you want them to have a moment to click on these 3 options before they decide which one they want to read?
Yeah, I think that would be really nice of us to let them kind of decide which one would they want to use. So I'll give you a minute and I'll stop talking. All right, so what I want you to do is, say, select the one that you like the most. And then once you've selected it, Lisa will explain how you're going to change your name, and then we'll make breakout rooms based on the article that you chose. So
if you want to just all move to slide 9 real quickly.
Okay.
If you're not sure how to change your name, if you look by your face and there's 3 little dots there, you click on the dots and there's a spot to rename. And what we're going to do is you're just going to write the number of the article you're going to choose to read at the front of your name. So for instance, I'm going to rename mine, and I'm just going to put my name, or the number 1 in front of my name. And that way I'll know which article I'm reading. So why don't you try that? And then Karen, you can let them know how much time they have to read their article.
Oh, okay. Yeah, do you think 4 minutes would be enough? That's what I kind of planned on, was 4 minutes. Okay, I'll give you 4 minutes to read your article and give it some thought of an essential question. You have about 1 more minute. Let me know if that's not enough time. All right, well, I hope everyone had enough time to formulate something in their own mind. So just like in my own classroom, I think we learn best by talking with others. So Lisa's going to put you in those breakout rooms based on which article you chose. And in those breakout rooms, kind of maybe try to design like a mini lesson that you could come away with. And we'll start with 7 minutes. If that's not enough time, we certainly can go longer.
And just to clarify, when they're in their breakout rooms, do you want them to be filling out the next slides, or should they do that when they are finished talking?
They certainly could. If you've talked for 5 minutes and you have some great ideas that you want to start filling out your slide, that would be fine, because we're going to do a gallery / chalk walk with that.
Okay, you're going to be going into breakout rooms. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. I hope you can hear me okay. You'll see on the slides, though, there's a breakout room number 1. So if you're reading article 1, that's where you're going to be. There's a breakout room number 2. That's for people reading article 2, and 3 will be in the main room, this room, but you have a slide there also. All right, here you go.
We can't hear you, Lisa.
Thanks, Amanda. I'm actually just saying I'm going to mute and stop my video for a second and let you all talk.
Okay.
Good morning.
Hi, Sarah. And hi, Julie.
All right.
Good morning. Sorry.
So do we want to
Okay.
come up with essential questions first, or lesson ideas?
I kind of started brainstorming essential questions, so maybe starting there.
Okay, do you want me to type on the slide while you talk?
That would be awesome.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out, so with the Sahara Desert, it's all about like it expanding. And then it talked about like the precipitation, like decreasing, that kind of stuff. And so I was trying to connect it to science standards for like 4th and 5th grade, really. And they have like an erosion and weathering one, which
Nice.
is technically different, but I was trying to figure out like how to make those ideas go together. And so I was saying like, one of mine was like, how is our world constantly changing, or how are landscapes constantly changing? I don't know, something like that was what I was thinking.
Nice.
Anyone else got an idea?
No, I think you're on the right track, if I understand. So the essential question is what we would have them think about as we're setting their purposes for what they're ready to read. So
Right,
that's
like their thinking questions.
broadly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. No, I think that's good.
Sarah, did you think of anything?
Yeah, well, I was thinking more, I teach middle school English, so I was thinking more of what are the contributing factors? I mean, so it's getting bigger, but why? Because that causes them to go back and find that text evidence, you know, and write a race response or what have you. But it's not a very good essential question since it has there's a right answer. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really get them thinking. It just really gets them looking for the details. But
Yeah. Yeah, and that's I was trying to think of how to expand it into like, because when I think essential question, I think like a whole unit.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to think of like so I was like, well, erosion and weathering, like maybe we're going to like how is our world changing? What is affecting that change? Which you could not make it landscapes, and you could just be like, how is our world changing? And then that could go from like landscape change to like people change.
yeah, because
Society
it talks about
changes.
human-driven climate change, not just rainfall. Like, what are you doing as a human to contribute to this? I don't know if it's a problem or issue or it's just a thing. But.
Yeah, good point.
Let's see. Yeah, I do essential questions so big like you do. It's more of a overarch for the whole unit, not just one lesson.
Yeah.
I guess we could think of it as a thinking question for while they're reading.
Or more of a guiding question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you put what you said, Sarah? Like
No,
your
because it's lame.
but it would qualify under that like more guiding question kind of a thing. Like
Okay.
while they're reading, what are you thinking about?
I'll clarify that it's a guiding question.
Clarify it as what?
As a guiding question or like a
Gotcha,
thinking question
okay.
while they're reading, because that's not really an essence of an essential question.
I just let everyone else know we have about a minute and a half left.
Okay.
We could see it too, Lisa.
Thank you.
In Idaho, we don't really hit on climate change, right? But I mean, you could do something towards climate change.
Yeah.
I also like that it leaves it up kind of like Karen showed us in one of the other ones, but like it leaves us up to like making predictions. Like if this is the change so far, like what predictions can we make about changes in the future?
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a great time to pull in like data, having them interpret graphs and different things, or compare the Sahara Desert to a different type of climate that's experiencing some sort of change, whether it's growing or the ice caps are shrinking. I mean, just to compare and contrast to scientific things that are happening. And
Yeah,
like you said,
or even to put the information presented in the article in some graphic form.
Nice graphic organizer.
That would be cool.
How's your discussion going? Did you guys have enough time to talk about a lesson? Yes. All right. Well, let's, did you guys have enough time? We never even went to our slide. Did you have enough time to fill in the slide? So why don't I give you a few minutes to fill in the slide if you haven't had a chance to. All right, and then if you haven't already, oh my gosh, I'm just blown away once again by all you guys' great ideas. If you haven't already, you can either do a gallery walk and just kind of look at what people have written, or what's really fun I like to do in my classroom is a chalk walk where you can also make comment to something, add on to something. So I'll give a few minutes to do that. Like I say, either do a gallery walk or a chalk walk. Right, I love all of your guys' ideas, and you keep adding more. So this is very exciting. I'm coming away with great lesson ideas for myself. I'm hoping that you are too, and hoping that you see that you can, you can make the close read 2 sentences if you're, kindergarten, or you can give them the full article, or you can, like I say, just give them what you want of it, to do the close read and that essential question. These are outstanding. All right. Did anyone want to share out anything before we move to the next thing? Any takeaways from the close read?
I just love, Karen, how you by pairing like graphs with the text and having us think through what kinds of essential questions we could ask and what kinds of tasks we could create and how we could change like the wording to make it, or chunk it to make it more applicable, that you're really creating these really rich opportunities for these low floor, high ceiling tasks.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping that you guys are seeing what Katie just said, that you don't have to go, oh my gosh, this article is, written at a 12th grade level. Make it your own. Make it whatever you want. Anyone else want to share? All right. Well, like I say, I am blown away with this. This is super exciting for me. Well, why don't we move to slide 16? I think Lisa's sharing that with you. I'll give you a minute to read this quote. Do you guys have any takeaways from the quote at all?
Well, I was just getting ready to type in the chat room, but I'll just share. I teach fourth
Sorry.
grade, and I have math students that when I teach them the math skills, they're really good at math. But when they go to do the assessment, whether it's a district assessment, an ISAT assessment, they fail miserably because so much of the math is incorporated into literacy, and they're struggling readers possibly, or they don't know how to read through that to find what you're asking. What is that important information? Why is it important? How do we go about solving that? Independent, if I give them a math problem, they can do it, but they can't apply it. And so literacy is such a huge part of math that so many times we forget to incorporate in math. And in real life, math, I tell my kids this all the time. I teach fourth grade. I never see this math problem in my real life. Mm-hmm. I never see, 7 3/4 minus 2 1/2. But my husband's a carpenter, and he does this every day, but it's not written on a piece of paper like this, and so giving them those real life. So I like the idea of those articles where there's real life math application, and putting that more into, after you teach the skill, then have lots of practice with that literacy, I think is huge for these kids.
Thank you. I concur with that. Anyone else want to share? Yeah, I like to say, I 100% agree with you that if we don't teach kids how to read mathematics and embrace those mathematics words and understand those mathematics words, I just don't know how they'll progress in math. And it's sad to see a kid go, I'm just not good at math, when you know that they can be. You just got to find that entry level for them.
I think a lot of times children aren't motivated to read the math problems if they can't find a connection to them. You know, math word problems a lot of times are so disconnected to our actual individual backgrounds. And so that's part of the reason as a kindergarten teacher, I took this class, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I know how important it is for my children who are starting to read math problems in order to do math to be able to make those connections and understand how it applies to them. So that's part of why I was interested in this, is just helping children make connections to real life in math so that they don't think that they're bad at math just because they can't read the problem and pull out what they need to know to be able to do it.
Exactly. Oh no, I'm super excited you're here. It's fun to see a perspective from a kindergarten teacher. No, really, my daughter teaches second grade, and I love talking to her because she loves math, and her kids are, taking paper and putting it all the way to the office to figure out how far it is to the office. So anything that you can make kids love math is super exciting, and I think bringing it into stories and real life stories is going to be just the important thing to get our kids on board to say math is fun. Well, this quote I took from a book. It is copyrighted, so I couldn't put the whole article. But on the next slide, I just took a picture of the book. I love this book. I don't know if you've read it. It is written. It's more middle school, but I definitely have adopted everything to the high school level. It is a great book. And this I got, I think, from PEBC. I'm pretty sure, because I don't know. Are you guys doing PEBC in your districts? The Denver? It's like the workshop model. Well, we're gonna have to have a whole nother session on that. It's awesome. But this, like I say, this has a lot of great ideas. So like I say, I encourage you to buy this book. Well, I just wanted to share, we don't have a lot of time left. I wanted to share out a few other things that I've used in my math classroom. The one is the Frayer model. I'm sure many of you have used it, but I really like it. So I did this with my calculus class, but you could do it in kindergarten. You could do it at any level. Pick a word, and then I had my kids I chose derivative because that's what we were working on, but I had my kids take about 10 minutes on their own and fill it out themselves. So just depending on the level, it might be like a 2-minute activity, it might be a 10-minute activity, but I had them write down what they thought the definition was, some characteristics of it, some facts, because there's a huge difference between the derivative and integration. So I did this kind of right at the end of the unit before we started integrating and going the other way. I had them do them examples. And then the thing I like about the Frayer model is non-examples. That's hard for kids to think of. Like, what do you mean by a non-example of that? And that thinking outside of the box that, oh, it couldn't be something that, has like the jumping graph or anything like that. It has to be a continuous graph. So my kids were nice enough to allow me to use their work. But you could do that really for anything. If you're teaching kindergarten, you could do maybe addition. And what wouldn't be addition, or something like that. So like I say, the Frayer model is a quick activity, and it's a great way to get kids to define things and really think, what is it and what is not, and where can I use that? Because I think that's a hard thing in math too. Is kids knowing when they can use things and where they apply. So on the next, thank you. The next thing is vocabulary. I love using a word wall. I don't know if you guys use word walls, but I think they're awesome in math. Just it's nice to refer to. I tried to put it up at the beginning of the unit. get it out there. These are the words that we're going to be looking at. So there's my vocabulary word. If you've never been in my classroom, I love color. So I know it's weird for a math teacher, but I have a very blingy room. So, but here's just an example. So we did a unit just on exponential functions. And we talked about the words as we went through the unit. But then I also had them at the end of the unit when we were reviewing, make a picture of one of the vocabulary words that really resounded with them. Several kids had to start over, but like you can see kids were willing to share with me. Like someone did a cube root. On the exponential forms, they put the letter, I don't know if you can see it, they put every other letter as an exponent to describe exponential form. And there was, I don't know if I had some other ones in there. They loved it. I'm just gonna tell you hands down, kids love the days when I say, oh, we're gonna do a close read or we're gonna do something fun. They love this. My kids that are not, I liked this one. She took the Uno. I was like, that is cool. But my kids that are not, I would say super left brain that are just, just give me the facts. I just want to do all these problems. Those kids love the days when we do this kind of stuff and they look forward to it because they're like, oh, we're doing something fun in math today, so, but they're actually, I mean, they're learning a lot and doing those fun activities, and it brings the whole class on board. I think, of we're all in this together. All right, so I want you, I'm so thankful you guys came to my mini workshop here, but I want you to think. I put out a couple questions here, so I can give you a few minutes to think, and then I thought we could do a last minute share. So I think you can see this last slide.
Do you want us to just share it out, or do you want it in the chat? I don't see
just
a
share it out. I think that would be great.
So do you have a place where you get some of your closed articles that is easy? Because I know I find myself when I'm looking for things for the kids, I get too involved in it and can't find something quick because I start reading things and then have to look at something else and get sidetracked. And so is there an easy access place for article ideas?
The definitions are very easy to do. Like if you just wanted them to do a close read on a definition. But as far as articles, I just try to think of, what's currently going on. I don't have a real nice go-to place on the internet. Okay. I honestly think, like you're watching the news, like, wow, that's interesting. Like the housing thing, like I just, like that's been on my mind. The trip to Mars, I thought was fascinating. But I'm sorry, I just don't have like a nice little go-to place for those. I just kind of listen to the news and come out with some new things going on.
Okay.
I use ReadWorks and Newsella in the classroom, and it's nice because you can search by Lexile level. So if you pick your topic and then you want to differentiate for any sort of groups, but ReadWorks is really great, and you can access Newsella for free. You just don't get like quiz results, but you have access to all the articles, and they do the same thing by topic, by Lexile level, by what types of questions you want to ask. So maybe try those two as well.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering about that as well. We also have Scholastic News that has been purchased for my grade level at 4th grade. And I'm not 100% good at using them as well as they can be used, but I'm thinking now of applying the Scholastic News into some of this as well. So.
Oh, great. I like all your guys' ideas. Yeah, I definitely think like a close read could be an anchor activity for your unit too. If it was something, I said exponentials just fell on my lap, but if you were doing climate change, those slope fields would fit right in, all kinds of things. So I think they'd be great, like say, start the unit and finish the unit things. All right, anything else people want to share out? Well, I like to say I really appreciate everyone sharing all their ideas. Again, we're all just here to become better teachers and improve our craft. So, like I say, I really, really appreciate you guys attending.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing all the work that you're doing to help us just get more literacy into every classroom. That was awesome.
Thank you. I'm very humbled that people came to my workshop.
Karen doesn't know how awesome she is all the time, and she just always does great work. So we're going to be breaking here as soon as we're done, but in 3 minutes for lunch for 1 hour. Again, you just want to refer back to that email in the conference website to make sure that you get your Zoom link for your next session. And resources are there, including this PowerPoint. And the links, of course, are in there if you want to take a closer look at some of her samples or things like that. All right. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your lunch and your afternoon.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a great afternoon. It was nice to meet everyone too.